Hey Summit Church, Pastor Eric here. Welcome to Base Camp. If you're new here, what is Base Camp? You might be wondering. Well, each week we meet at the summit, and so if you were actually going to go up a mountain, on the way up and the way down, you would stop at a base camp. So weekly we really look at where we were, and we just focus on where we are going in God's Word. This last week was a great Sunday. We talked about honor. Specifically in 4 areas, or 4 slices of pie. And I actually got to eat an entire slice of apple pie for part of my message. I know it was cruel. I know it was maybe a little torturous for some of you, but Thanksgiving's coming, so you'll probably get your own pie. Actually, one person did walk away with an entire pumpkin pie. Isaac, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for sharing a slice of that with me after the service. But we talked about honor in 4 specific areas. Really honoring yourself, honor that it brings unity, and honor that we are all supposed to, really look at Paul's teachings to honor all. We focused on really where does honor land, and then how honor unlocks the miracle. These were the 4 focus areas of honor that we journeyed through when it comes to God's Word and what we talked about last week at the summit. I just want to pause real quick and talk a little bit about honoring yourself. I love in 1 Corinthians where we were, how the body's made up of all these different parts. And we have to be comfortable in the skin that God has called and equipped us in. We talked through the importance of understanding your role and your responsibility, or your idea that you fit into the body. And we got to be comfortable with our talents and our skills and what God has given us. I would love to journey with all of you through, your spiritual gifts. How do we discover those and deploy those? What about your individual personality? How God has wired you, how you think? All of these things, these insulators, come together to really celebrate you. And I just want to pause for a second specifically about ourselves. When it comes to honoring ourselves, I talked about a low pride and a high pride. High pride, thinking that we're all that in a bag of chips, and low pride, really being something where we look at ourselves in the mirror and it's this constant negative self-image that we project in hopes that, someone would maybe or have a moment where we're being filled with the words we want to hear. I think pride is really prevalent in both places. One thing that I've really had to wrestle with in my own life is I'm not seeking to honor myself for self-esteem, but I'm seeking to honor myself for Christ esteem. There's a difference. So when you look in the mirror, when it comes to honoring yourself, remember, it's not about thinking you're everything, and it's not about thinking that you're nothing, but it's about thinking that Christ became nothing and displayed everything. That Christ esteem in your life is your focus, is the goal, is that perfect person that exists within you as you journey to become like Christ. So don't seek self-esteem, seek Christ esteem, and honor yourself along the way. This next week, we're going to be focusing on a beautiful story in Ezra when it comes to laying the foundation of thankfulness, and how that perspective needs to shift or change in all of our lives, because when we do live in gratitude, in that attitude, it changes the future. It really scientifically rewires your mind, and in Ezra we see 2 choices before us as we have to really look at what are we thankful for. This year has been just crazy. Honestly, this year's been one of those years where we can get very cynical, we can get very unthankful, we can get, cornered into the thinking that we'll discover in the story of Ezra in the temple, and we'll shift that perspective to live in gratitude and what that does to your mental health. It's Thanksgiving, and one quick other note, I just want to point out, I know I have you here for Base Camp. We're putting these boxes together. I've got just a couple examples of what's in this box. Hawaiian sweet rolls, a pecan pie, a turkey. I mean, then we get into like how to bake the turkey with instructions and a tin, ready whip for anything really. And then we've got all these box goods that are coming in here, mac and cheese and stuffing, chicken broth. We got potatoes, we've got gravies. I mean, it goes on and on. Even the details like French fried onions. Now, I don't know about you, but this is why you eat green bean casserole, is for these little things. I did want to point out that Pastor Sandy and my amazing wife got together, and they actually had the kids on Sunday make these little candy canes with the meaning of the candy cane, with an invite for people in our neighborhood or a person that would get this box to curate that child's childhood this Christmas season. So when you see this and you see Pastor Sandy, make sure you say thank you to her and my wife for putting that together in partnership with our kids. We'll see you Sunday at the summit. Thanks for being here at Base Camp.